before, and let me say it again. I believe that destiny has suggested that this small state of Vermont is in fact going to lead America in a very different direction. And that the day is going to come when all over America people are going to say, "Thank you, Vermont."
The biggest challenge we encounter is actually the progressive movement in Vermont, led the spiritual and political leader of which is Bernie Sanders. And you're right that most of these people are into simple living, smaller is beautiful, back to the land, energy independence, locally produced agriculture, small businesses, all of these good things that we applaud. But with few exceptions, they're also loyal to the American empire. The federal government is the problem because it's owned and operated and controlled by Wall Street and corporate America, that there really is no distinction between the empire and corporate America. They're really one and the same. And so these people who on the one hand are advocating small is beautiful, back to the land, which is very appealing, they're simultaneously in bed with the most powerful, the most materialistic, the wealthiest, the most racist, the most militaristic and most violent empire of all times. And so there's this huge paradox, but it's like Vermont progressives don't get it.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
Well, the progressive movement has to decide whether they're going to be like Eugene Debs many years ago, the great labor leader, who basically said, I'd rather vote for a thing I believe in and lose than vote for a thing I don't believe in and win. So it's a choice is quite clear. Progressives are very critical of the Republican Party, and soundly so, but they're really very critical of the Democratic Party.
Frankly, we are now as a nation fighting a war that 2/3 of us don't even want to be in. So what does that tell you about democracy and accountability when the most important decision that a country can make to go to war, to kill people across the globe, is being done even though 2/3 of Americans do not want to have us in that war?
It was back in 1942, I was a member of a good platoon. We were on maneuvers in Louisiana one night by the light of the moon. The captain told us to ford a river, that's how it all begun. We were knee-deep in the big muddy, the big fool said to push on.
From 1777 to 1791, Vermont was an independent republic. And most Vermonters are not aware of that. So we are proposing that the state legislature declare January 15th, 1777 Vermont Independence Day, and to celebrate it each year after that as the day that Vermont declared itself an independent republic.
Well, the sergeant said, sir, are you sure this is the best way back to the base? Sergeant, go on, I forded this river about a mile above this place. It'll be a little soggy, but just keep slogging, we'll soon be on dry ground. We were waist deep.
You can phrase it however you want. You know, we tend not to use the word secession. because it's a negative term. We like the word independence because it's an evolution toward independence rather than just a quick rejection.
I think it would be in our financial interest to separate from the federal government and rather than continue to participate in this endlessly growing debt that we're going to have to pay back someday.
Sergeant said, sir, with all this equipment, no man will be able to swim. Sergeant, don't be nervous, Nellie, the captain said to him. All we need is a little determination. Men, follow me, I'll lead on. We were next.
I think Vermont would lose an awful lot if we weren't integrated with the markets and the economy of the United States.
Vermont Governor Jim Douglas is among those who don't believe secession should or will happen.
I really don't take the movement seriously. Vermonters do have a right to be annoyed with what's going on in Washington, D.C., but I don't think the answer is secession.
President Douglas, that has a ring to it.
Waist deep in the big muddy, the big fool says to push on. Waist deep in the big muddy, the big fool says to push on. Waist deep, neck deep, soon even a tall man will be over his head. We're waist deep in the big muddy, the big fool says to push on.